Wunderschönen guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren. Die 7. Deutsche Rohstoffnacht für Sie im Rahmen der Invest-Messe in Stuttgart, die ja leider ausfallen musste aufgrund von Covid-19. Aber wie Sie wissen, machen wir das Ganze natürlich virtuell und wir kommen jetzt zu unserem ersten englischen Gast. Gold Terra Resources und David Suda, der CEO, wird uns einen Einblick gewähren in sein tolles Unternehmen. David, welcome, good morning and hope you are fine.
Doing great and
Super.
all the better for seeing you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Also great seeing you. So this is now for our viewers here in Germany, as the German Resource Night unfortunately is not happening. And we decided that you are giving a company insight of Gold Terra Resources. And I will start the presentation right now, and then the floor is yours. So David, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jochen. It's a completely new world in terms of presenting. So we are very sorry not to be in attendance. Obviously, we would have loved to come and visit you and do some of the things that we very much enjoy doing with you, Jochen. So in lieu of that, this is pretty good. It's nice to see your face, and I hope everybody can see the presentation. And I'm very excited to walk everybody through it. We'll be quick. And at the end, Jochen, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so Gold Terra. New name, new management team to some extent. Very exciting project. I'm just as excited about this and even more than I was almost 2 years ago when I joined the company. The company is in a tremendous position now, and we have absolutely a fantastic presentation for you here today. We're going to be making some forward-looking statements. You know that I get very excited about the prospects of this company, so just be aware that I'm going to be saying some really great things about our future, and the forward-looking statements cover that. And so, capital structure. We didn't change everything about the company. We did give it a new name to indicate that we have renewed energy and dynamism. We included the name gold because gold is very important, obviously, to our current market and also to our company, as that's what we're exploring for. The capital structure is, we have 160 million shares outstanding. We have a strong institutional holding, and I expect that to grow substantially as we enter a bull market in gold. Our retail ownership is very familiar to us and very strong, and we have close associates who own over 20% of the company, and as you can see, we as management are very much aligned with shareholders. We own a lot of stock, and Gerald, Mr. Penaton, who I'll speak about in a moment, actually called me this morning and told me that he owns over 4 million shares of the company. So no question, we are aligned. We did a fine late last year. It closed in December, and we raised $5.5 million in a bought deal with BMO at 25 cents. And we've just finished spending a portion of that cash on exploring the Yellowknife City Gold project. We're very well positioned. We have a district scale property surrounding the city of Yellowknife, on trend with two very prolific past producing mines. These mines produced over 14 million ounces at half an ounce grade. That is roughly 16 grams per ton. So certainly this is a wonderful place to be. It's 100% controlled, and we are excited to be exploring 70 kilometers, almost 70 kilometers of strike. And in comparison with other Archean greenstone belts, you might take the Porcupine break in the Timmins camp, for example, which has produced a significant amount of gold, north of 50 million ounces. So we're in the right place. We're right next to town, which means we have infrastructure, we have skilled labor, and it's not just any town, it's a town that was built on mining. It currently services the diamond mines, so we feel that we're in the great area code, in a great jurisdiction, with past production and a large, high-grade, prolific property. So the Yellowknife City Gold Project, as we call it. There's been a lot of drilling done on this. We know where to go to find gold, and it's a huge property. In the past, I would say that it was so big that it was almost an impediment to our progress, because we were, having a hard time funding the exploration of such a huge property. And when I arrived nearly 2 years ago, it was clear from the market, and it was clear to me, that the strategy had to be focused, and we needed to get out a resource so that we could show that there is a mine here near town, near infrastructure, near all of this labor, that we could actually take advantage of, and then we could go out, step out, and find the blue sky. So in November 2019, we put out our first mineral resource estimate, 735,000 ounces of gold. We just completed 10,000 meters of drilling at a target called Sam Otto. If you take a look here, these are the primary targets which comprise our resource estimate. And these targets are all within 3 kilometers of each other. So that's tremendous. I mean, there are companies that will put out a resource that has targets all over the place. This is, this looks like a mine, the way that it's laid out. So just the numbers on the resource, we've got in the pit constrained total, 523,000 ounces at roughly 1.4 grams per ton. And we have an underground total of 212,000 ounces at 5.7 grams a ton. We expect these numbers to grow. The goal of our program this winter with the 10,000 meters at Sam Otto was to grow the resource on the pit constrained total from Sam Otto, which is currently sitting at 426,000 at 1.23. If you take a look at our past 3 news releases, you'll see that we've had success hitting gold with all holes, and we've been hitting grades that are currently in line and better than the resource grade. So again, in total, we're sitting at 735,000, and we expect to upgrade that by the end of 2020. So Sam Otto, where we just finished drilling, this is a wide and long disseminated sulfide target. It's at surface, it's not deep. It would look like a bulk tonnage open pit style resource. It's currently at Sam Otto Main, we've got 750 meters. Sam Otto South, if you look at our last 3 news releases, you'll see we've extended it, we've made it bigger. And then there's what we call the Sam Otto extension and gap. There is a zone here between Sam Otto Main and Sam Otto South, which we've drilled. And again, we've hit gold mineralization, showing that the gold continues throughout the entire target. You won't be surprised if after we update the resource estimate on this, we just call this Sam Otto from now on. This will run big zone. And by the way, you can see here on number 3 on the map, that is where we believe this structure continues for at least another 2 kilometers that's been untested. So the gold deposit looks like this in our models. You can see that these pit shells are not very deep, and the goal of this winter's program was to expand these to connect the gap again between Sam Otto and Sam Otto South, and to drill holes that take our inferred resource to a higher number. We want to expand the number of gold ounces at this target. We are not looking to go to measured and indicated. What we're looking to do is we're looking at sections that are missing data, so that the areas where we were unable to see the model pull ounces into the pit, we need to give now that model drill results and data that can pull ounces into the pits. So that was the goal of our program over the course of this winter. So other primary target areas, Crestaurum, very interesting target, very exciting. This is a look-alike to the Con vein, which was part of the Con mine. It produced about 1 million ounces at over 20 grams per ton grade. And Crestaurum is one that's been drilled a lot. It is part of our resource, but we have not drilled it deep. And so that's going to be the focus of our some of our next drilling, is to go deep into Crestaurum and show that it is what we believe that it is, which is an analog or a look-alike of that Con vein that started the Con mine. Here's a slide which indicates why we believe there's a similarity between the C1 shaft trench at the Con mine, nearly 1 million ounces again at nearly 20 grams a ton grade. You can see that the mineralization there is in a quartz vein in the center, and then you see sericite, anchorite zone on either side. And on the Crestaurum side of the picture, this is a trench that we dug at surface, 4 meters of 25 grams. And that's Joe Campbell, the founder of the company and currently our chief operating officer. Joe is still running our technical programs, and here he is next to 2 quartz veins surrounded by that same sericite anchorite zone. So it will certainly be our goal to get to the bottom of this particular target, make sure that we find those ounces. The gold deposit currently at Crestaurum, we've got it modeled with a starter pit, 9.4 grams, just 38,000 ounces. You know, we imagine this starting with a small pit and then, you know, using that pit to then either sink a shaft or go underground. But lots of work to do on expanding the resource here, you know, later this summer or perhaps this fall, given COVID-19. But we're very excited about getting on to drilling this target. It has produced some tremendous intercepts in the past. We've seen, you know, things like 5 meters of 60 grams of gold. So lots of excitement coming here. And of course, backing out again and looking at this as an opportunity in the context of a rising gold market, with people coming back and looking at junior exploration companies. We put this slide in here to show the investor the tremendous potential. This is a really great way to leverage the kind of market that we're coming into. You can see that the past production here in red at the Con mine, down to almost 1,600 meters, 6.1 million ounces of 16 grams. And then you've got the giant mine, which produced over 8 million ounces, you know, down to call it about 300 meters, 400 meters. And if you look just a little further north, the 4 targets that comprise our current resource and the many more that don't show up on this picture, you can see that this is all open at depth. Crestaurum, we've only scratched the surface, and at Sam Otto as well, open along strike, and we're very excited about that. So the 2020 program comprised again of 10,000 meters. We drilled to define 2 kilometers of strike. So far we've put out slightly more than half of the drill results, and we've seen success by all accounts. We're very excited about what's to come. We had planned Q2, Q3, and we've left that in our presentation due to the uncertainty of COVID-19. We don't know what's possible. You know, we think potentially drilling in July is unrealistic given the situation. However, again, we've left this here to underscore to investors that if we felt we needed to drill or we were in a position to drill, we're next to town and we can mobilize very quickly. We actually were able to complete our winter drill program under COVID-19, and that has to do with the fact that we're right in town. So we were able to keep a skeleton crew in town. People were working safely under the regulations and all of the suggested guidelines. by the health organizations and the governments, and people were going home and sleeping in their own bed at night and still working on the project. So this is a very important element of this story. Being so close to town, having our targets so close to town, puts us in a unique position in COVID-19. So with the program having been concluded, we drilled exactly 9,715 meters, 34 holes. We've now released 18 of them. I think that, you know, there's lots of good information and news flow to come. This is a slide here that shows some new mineralized structures. So we've put this one section in here to show, you can see the pit outline from the 43101 inferred gold mineral resource is just right here. We did have a hole below that, but because we don't have enough data, the model doesn't pull more ounces. It doesn't make this pit deeper. Now you can see that with this hole that we've drilled here and 25 meters of 1.39 grams down a little bit deeper below the pit, this pit is going to, I would confidently say, expand. And so we've done a lot of this. This is one example of it. For a presentation that's like this, we'll move on, but investors need to know that if they go and look at our press releases, they'll see that we've done this in several places on this target, and we're quite confident we'll grow the resource. And of course, we're right next to exceptional infrastructure. You know, we've got a very rich mining history. I've already mentioned this. It helped us during COVID-19. We've got strong support from the mining community and First Nations. We're very proud of the work that Joe Campbell and his team has done to put this property together and also to establish goodwill in the city of Yellowknife. We've certainly always had drill permits issued in very good time. In fact, just about a year ago, I remember our team calling me and panicking and saying, you know, this is terrible. We weren't able to receive a permit in time. And so, of course, I became nervous and asked, well, how long is it going to be delayed by? And they said 1 week. So, you know, we're working in a good environment. And then just at the end of the slide here, I'm going to use this as a segue to a very important closing comment, which is that one of the things that we're very proud of is that we were able to bring on Gerald Paneton, founder of Detour Gold, also an alumnus of the Barrick Gold team, built 2 mines, put together Detour Gold, with bringing Gerald into the company, and he's now very hands-on. He's the executive chairman. As I mentioned, he owns over 4 million shares of Gold Terra. Gerald brought with him this project called the Mulligan Gold Project. We're not currently focused on this. We're not going to spend any large amounts of money on this, but it's a great call option, and especially going into a very strong gold market with very little work and very little money spent. We could easily see ourselves sitting on a very strong asset here. And so in closing, we've got a great property. I'd also add that with Gerald, we've brought Lori Gabori onto our board. She was the head of IR at Detour for many years, and also Louis Dion, who was one of the founding members of Gerald at Detour. They worked together at Barrick, and as a very strong mining engineer, it's excellent to have him on board with our project. So Jochen, thank you very much. I hope that this is a good summary of Gold Terra. I hope that investors recognize this as a tremendous opportunity to leverage the market we're going into. And we have lots of news flow to come, so please stay tuned.
So David, thank you very much. Great presentation. I have 2-3 questions, like, do you have enough money for this year?
Well, we come out of the program at the end of April with about $1.6 to $1.9 million. You know, we are just concluding an IP survey, which was also run concurrently with our drilling. And after we pay all of our expenses for the drilling that we just completed in the IP survey, we'll come out of this with at least 1.6 million. Mm-hmm. And at our current and new drastically reduced burn rate, we can certainly make it through quite a lot of this uncertainty well cashed. And, you know, if we need to drill, then we may need to top up on that. But, you know, obviously we're going to leverage our news flow in this market to make sure that if we raise money, it will be at a time where we're not diluting investors and we're doing it at a price that is appropriate.
Of course, fantastic. Other question. When I see this, let's say, really fantastic start with 735,000 ounces, how many more meters do you think you have to drill to really upgrade this into measured and indicated? Or let's say to come to 1,000,000 ounces measured and indicated, because now it's inferred.
We aren't even thinking about measured and indicated yet. We want to go and put a lot more ounces on the table at this particular level, you know, at the inferred. We'll start to think about measured and indicated when we talk about you know, economic assessments and feasibility studies and so on and so forth. Right now, what we want to do is we want to put large numbers of ounces on the table at this inferred level. We want to get to Crestaurum, you know, and we want to be able to go back and extend Sam Otto. So to put this into measured and indicated, I think is too early to talk about. We certainly want to drill another, you know, 5,000 to 10,000 meters at Crestaurum just for starters.
Okay, fantastic. Last question, because it looks to me like that, yeah, this is really a great project which can be brought in production. This is what it looks like. You are in elephant territory. You have 2 multi-million ounces just next to you. So where there was gold in the past, there should be a lot of gold also in the future here around it. And your drill results really showed that this is the case, right? So the question for me would be, do you want to bring it by yourself in production, or do you say, hey, no, we are the exploration experts. If this one should be brought in production, we partner, we team up with somebody who has done that before?
That's a great question. And when I first joined the company, I watched a lot of other companies present and say, we want to sell this to somebody else. And that's a strategy that some people have to take. I don't think it's the strongest strategy. Our is to create as much value for investors as possible. If that means to build it, we build it. If it means to sell it, it's sell it. But shareholders will decide what avenue we take. And by bringing Gerald and Louis and Lori, and we're going to keep bringing more people to this project, that will make it possible to take any possible path to make the most money for shareholders. So we've certainly taken a step closer to being able to build it if that's necessary.
Super. Perfect. All right. Hey, David, then thank you very much. Great presentation. And I hope that also our viewers enjoyed it here from the 7th Deutsche Rohstoffnacht. And all the best for you. Thank you very much, and stay healthy.
You too. Thanks a lot, Jochen.
Thank you.
I wish I was there.
Ja, me too, to be honest. Would be good fun. Thank you very much. Ja, meine Damen und Herren, das war Gold Terra Resources mit David Suda, dem CEO des Unternehmens. Und ja, Sie haben es gehört, ein noch kleinerer Goldexplorateur, aber mit einem Wahnsinnsteam, und 735.000 Unzen sind bereits gefunden worden im Boden. Das Projekt hier um Sam Otto rum, auch Crestaurum, hat absolutes Potenzial, mal in der Zukunft eine Mine zu werden. Und ich glaube, die Qualität des Teams spricht absolut für sich, das Unternehmen mal anzuschauen. In diesem Sinne, das war Gold Terra Resources, Gold Terra Corporation, sorry, hier für die 7. Deutsche Rohstoffnacht. Alles Gute, vielen herzlichen Dank, bleiben Sie gesund und auf Wiedersehen.